Hi, I'm Pop Sigung. Welcome to my channel where I teach my personal martial art of Bagua Kuntao Silat. Today I'm going to show you an exercise you can do solo with a resistance band to help you with your grabs and pulls for throwing, breaking structure, taking control of someone's center, and how to practice it for internal martial movement. Now, since this is the yin aspect of the yang aspect of striking, practicing this will also improve your striking power, because as you coil up and bring it in, then your striking arm will extend. They help each other, like everything. Improving one aspect and understanding how it works synergistically with the other aspects improves other things as well. One of the toughest things about practicing martial arts is practicing alone. And to get good, you have to do it a lot. Often, you can't find partners. Therefore, I've come up with a series of exercises, training drills, attribute training, and other things to help you with being able to practice when you're alone, so you can improve and become more effective over time. Oftentimes, when you do these drills and meet up with your training partner later, and if there's been any length of time, they're like, "What have you been doing, man? You're so much stronger, faster, cleaner, smoother," whatever they say. With this, first, I want to show you this skill is often forgotten or neglected because it's taken for granted. But when done properly, you can induce a whiplash effect when you grab and learn how to place all your weight on your opponent at once and drop your weight into their weight and take control of their center with your center and essentially snap them off their feet or slam them to the ground. Or if you pair it up with footwork, sapus or turning for throws, it appears to be an explosive move, and it is when done properly. When you're doing it with a training partner, you can't go full bore because people end up cracking their head on the ground. But you can practice safely and over time get better and better, and as the other person gets better and more resilient, they can take harder and harder falls. Also, learning how to fall helps a lot, which we'll get into later. But with this practice drill, you're working on a number of things, but we're emphasizing the ability to use internal movement for the grab and pull, and do it in such a way that the other person finds it extremely difficult to resist. And if done in conjunction with other movements, they don't even know it's coming or feel it until it's already done. And that's what you want. But we want to practice this with primarily internal movement, not simply an external grab, muscling in and jerking them around. That'll work. But we want to be able to do it as efficiently as possible. We also don't want the other person to feel it coming. When this extends, this retracts. So this is pulling in while this is moving out. To see it higher with a fist, when this is moving out, this is moving in. So this is coiling, dropping, this is extending, rising. So we're striking out. And to do it on the other side, you can see this is retracting, this is extending. This half of my body is coiling and sinking, this is extending and rising, and this is providing a support or base for this movement. And you can see my back and spine is supported. I've dropped my hips, and you can see my back is slightly rounded, shoulders drop, so I can get the pressure from my center moving out, supported by my base, and my spine is also shooting this out. It's not simply a arm shoulder punch, it's an entire body punch. So, and when this moves out, this is moving in. And you notice my hand is closed, but it's not super tightly clenched. As little muscle as possible for the skeletal structure, because I want to remain relaxed throughout the entire movement. So when we're doing that movement, it's relaxed and my entire body is behind that movement. I'm not simply using muscle. Sure, I'm using muscle or I can't move. I want to make that movement from my center. Now, to train this properly, when this punch comes out, often you'll see that pressing palm maneuver, or as you see in the opening, that grabbing, pulling palm maneuver. When we do that, anytime it extends, I can grab something, pull it back. I want to be able to pull it back with the same speed and ability as my extended strike. When that happens, like I said, you have that whiplash effect. And often, if they're not sunk and rooted, you just simply snatch them off their feet. I'll show you in the future with a training partner once they're prepared for it. But when you're able to do that movement, they're completely taken off guard, especially when combined, like I said, we always attack upper and lower at the same time. And when we're sweeping, crashing through, tripping, throwing, front or rear, or turning into them, you'll see that coupled with that grabbing and pulling, implosive movement, where we're sinking and coiling our body, joints and structure down, they can't resist it. It's just straight to the ground. That's what you want. You want to be able to control it, however, and you have to build up to that, because if not, you can also hurt yourself, because remember, you have your body weight, their body weight, and the force you've created all coming together on your body. If your body is not properly trained or prepared for it, you will injure yourself as well as the other person. We don't want to injure ourselves. We don't want to injure the other person except to get them to stop. So if we can help it at all, we won't hurt them at all. We just want them to stop attacking us. Therefore, when we do this, make sure we're doing it properly. And this training drill uses a resistance band because weights, as I've said before, and many internal masters in the past, for good reason, weights destroy the way you move, because everybody focuses primarily on the muscle and they're moving segmented or in pieces. Parts of them are moving, emphasizing that simple single muscle or even group of muscles, but done in a particular way that creates only partial movement, emphasizing that muscular tension to make that happen. We want to emphasize center movement to make that happen. As I said before, you have to engage a muscle or nothing moves, but you want to primarily make it an internal movement. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Resistance bands, when done properly, help you move better internally. Band, like I've shown in another video of mine where we're emphasizing footwork, is specifically to take the place of heavier lifting type movements, and it's often used in physical rehab. It is not a small tubular band. This is a thick latex rubber band that goes from 15 to 50 pounds. Since we'll be using this doubled up and not pulling on a single part, single strand at a time, we'll be pulling on two. That means it'll be between 30 and 100 pounds when it's extended. And we're doing this completely to emphasize it. I suggest you get one of the thicker bands, but not so thick that you struggle with it too much. Meaning, don't use a small little band where when you're properly moving your body, you feel almost no resistance. I want you to use a band where you can barely move it with your single arm. That way you know when you're cheating, because your mind wants to lie to you about, yeah, I'm doing this right. We're practicing this for ourselves to get better at our movements and perform the art better and be a better practitioner. So this gives us the feedback with our partner when it's done properly. If your band's too light, you'll cheat and won't know it. And you're just cheating yourself when you do it. So make sure you get a heavy band, but not too heavy, so it's discouraging or you're unable to move properly and you have to jerk the whole band with your body just to get it to move half a foot. We don't want that. We want it where it's strong enough to where it's obvious when you're pulling with a single arm and you can barely move it back with a single arm. When you do it properly that way and you use your whole body, it will easily move back. And we're going to do this movement slowly. The explosiveness comes from spontaneous, relaxed movement, and you'll get that over time when you practice without the band. What we're doing is building up internal movement and building up those internal structures in our body through slow movement done properly. Now, to set this up, find yourself a tree or a post. And like I said, we're going to do this double banded. Wrap it around. And loop it through. So your loop is near the center of the pole. And all we're grabbing two bands. So whatever it's rated at, if it's 15 to 50 pounds, like this one, it's now 30 to 100 because we're pulling on two. We're going to practice this with our fist, standing fist, because that's how we're going to pull on it. And we want to make sure we have equal structure on both sides. You want to set up in a high horse stance. So we're facing it and square it off. That makes it harder because you're going to have to sink and root in order to pull it. And I want you to back up until you've extended it already. So you can feel you need to pull it fairly vigorously to get it to move already. And we're going to start this way. And you can see I can't touch the pole. Now we move back where it's clenched here. And again, to be sure we're ready. So if we try to pull just with our arm, we're going to see we don't get very far. We move maybe 6, 7 inches. And that's what we want. Now, we're pulling this 6, 7 inches at about 100 pounds. These thicker latex bands that are used to assist with or take the place of heavy training are about 80 inches in a loop. So doubled up, they're about 40 inches. When they're wrapped around this pole, they're even smaller, so this works out well. But you can see I'm sunk, hips are tucked under, spine is naturally stacked up, chin's down, head's up. I'm relaxed, I can stay here all day. Knees slightly bent and my feet are parallel. How we want to do this is, when this pulls, we pull from our center. So in order to make this move appropriately, and we're going to strike out. Remember, this is the yin aspect, the coiling and bringing in, the pulling, the yin aspect to our extension, moving out, and uncoiling or striking. We pull, sink, and extend. And allow this to pull forward, and you get the same movement. So we're going to drop as this goes out to show that our center is doing the work. Because if not, our center wasn't doing the work. You can see this is only as far as I can pull it. And I'm starting to pull myself off balance because I'm using external only, this arm, and it's disconnected to the rest of me. However, when I use proper internal movement, you can see, I want you to do it slow, just like next level basic training. Slowly. Punch towards the pole. You won't reach it because you're not supposed to. And you can see crouched. And relaxed. So this is relaxed and easy as extending, and relaxed and easy as I'm pulling this forward. So if I were to pull a person, I'd have to hold them tightly, relax, and sink. Now, don't sit down and row it, although it's going to be similar to a rolling movement. You're coiling and pulling. So you're not dropping like this and allowing your entire body weight simply to pull it back. You're twisting and coiling and pulling it back while this arm is striking. Practice it on both sides. Do about 8 repetitions on each side until you can't do it properly anymore. Then you're done. Then you can practice it as often as you wish to improve. At least 3 or 4 times a week if you're specifically looking to improve this exercise. So again, the idea is sink. Notice I'm wearing boots. You can wear anything, but the slicker the bottoms of your feet are, the more you have to settle and drop your weight to root, which is why I chose to use this rather than have tennis shoes on or be barefoot. And notice again, if I try to do this with just an arm, it yanks me and pulls me around, and it's obvious. I pull it with my arm, it has that rubber band effect, because that's what it is, a giant tested rubber band. But if I do my whole body, I can hold it next to me. I just pull it and hold it next to me. If I do it in conjunction with a proper strike, and I have good base and root, and I stay still. So otherwise, you're just pulling and you get pulled back because you're using external movement. I want you to do this slowly and evenly so that you emphasize proper movement and understand the difference between moving with your entire body and moving simply in disjointed parts. So slowly and evenly. If we're moving in disjointed parts, it'd look like this. And you'd see it pop back because my body is not coiling this inward to move this out. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have fun with this, and I'll see you soon.